My non-working vehicle is coated in spiders every time I go outside, and of course, October 15th. I remember 10 years ago, on September 1st, I got cold.
The funny thing is, after I opened him up, all I found was blood and organs. There was no treasure at all.
Well, howdy, nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. First off, I just want to talk about how I've got not all of the D100 books up here, and there's a lot of, I can't even remember how to point my hands properly, that thing there, and all these other books. I have the D100 dungeon stuff. I have 4 Against Darkness, but I had to print out all that stuff myself. I've got Note Quest, which only comes as a PDF. I've got that printed out. I can't really display that stuff all that well, but I've been trying to show off the D100 dungeon solo stuff, my books out here. And after the front loading of videos, hey, if you could toss me a like, that'd be very cool. If you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be awesome. If you could leave me a comment, any kind of comment, even for the algorithm, that would help. That would be double plus good. And I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. These literally beautiful and literally awesome people help to keep me alive. I am able to eat. I am able to buy pain medicine because of these people. Thank you so very much. And if you would like to become a Patreon patron, like one of these beautiful people, I have links in the video description, and you could check that out, and that'd be awesome. As well, if you don't want to become a patron, there is a PayPal link for donations and an Amazon wish list link if you want to help me out without sending cash. And I have a post office box that you can send anything to. Postcards, keychains. I'll open them up on camera and show them off. Thumbs up and front loading of videos over. Yay! Now, what was I talking about beforehand? Oh yes, the D100 dungeon stuff. First off, I'm going to give some quick reports on things. Little Ghost. He's been running around still. He's got a nest on the far side of his little home there. So I haven't seen him running around this morning, but I've seen him lift his head. I've heard him chewing and stuff. So hopefully he's still okay. I'm going to, of course, poke on him. Check on him later to make sure he's still doing okay, but so far he's doing okay. I mean, not okay. I mean, picking him up yesterday, I would hold him in my hand and he doesn't move much because it's hard to breathe, and he's just trying to sniff and then having to try and breathe, and it just, it makes me so sad. I don't know what's wrong and I wish I could help, but I don't know how. But he's still here. We have spiders everywhere outside still. There's a big old spider in the window, garden spider there. My non-working vehicle is coated in spiders every time I go outside. And of course, October 15th. I remember 10 years ago, on September 1st, I got cold. It is October 15th. We're going to be in the mid-80s today. It isn't even going to be cold by the time we hit Halloween. And this is going to be one of our last best winters and summers. Yay. So there's that. So checking on the rest of my list just to see if I have anything else that's about life. Not really. Yesterday I did not do much, even things that I wanted to do. But I did manage to do something after I went walkies and had a good walkies, because I go walkies 6 mile round trip every single day. I don't feel right unless I go walkies. You need to have exercise. The minimum amount of exercise you need is like, I think it's like an hour and a half of heavy duty exercise per week, and like 2.5 hours of moderate exercise per week, and like 3 or 4 hours of light exercise. These are all exchanges. I'm not going to do the heavy duty hard exercise, and I'm not going to do the really light stuff. And moderate exercise is just walking at least 3 miles per hour. Well, I am now at the point where I power walk at like 4 miles an hour up hills, carrying like 20 pounds of stuff on my back. I don't care. I charge 4 miles per hour everywhere I go. So, thumbs up for that. But when I got back, I wanted to do something. I have been wanting to play these games and such on my channel. Lots of people do them, and I've been trying to figure out, how am I going to be able to do this? Well, I have a stand for my green screen. I used to have two, and I can't find the other one because I had ordered one years and years and years and years and years ago with a green screen, and it came damaged. So I talked to them, they sent me a new one, and it came great. I can't find the damaged stand anymore. I don't know if I kept it or got rid of it in a bad state. But if I take the one green screen stand and put it on this side of me, and then over here on the hamster cage, if I take my PlayStation 4 Pro box and put it up on its end so that it's standing tall instead of, side to side, and then I take the sticks are far away. I have two of these, they're about a yard long, meter long sticks, and I taped two of those sticks together. So with the stand here and the box here and then the two sticks dangling over the top of them, I can put at least one of my little foldy tables underneath. I'm going to use two because that doubles the space that you have, and I have some cardboard and foam stuff that I could use as like a tabletop. And then I dangled by just hooking my webcam onto the sticks, and it just doesn't stand, it dangles from the sticks. My PlayStation 4 camera will dangle from the sticks, and I just have to adjust it side to side and adjust the tables underneath, and then I can sit in my chair and my hands are out there, and you can see my hands, and you can see the game material, you can see the character sheet, and you can see where I'd be rolling dice. Now, because I have two webcams, I would be using one to record just straight down, and then another to hopefully from the side or some such, so we shall see. And then of course, doing my best to have extra stuff, put in close-ups of tables that I'm using and the like to show what's occurring. And then I can have a video of, yay, me showing off how these things work for the channel. Yay! So hopefully that will be good. Definitely a thumbs up. I'm going to enjoy it. I enjoy playing these games. I enjoy reading these games. I enjoy thinking about these games, even if I can't play them. And so far, I've mentioned Martin Knight, how he has a huge game line, a whole bunch of games, and he's recently come out with D100 Space for space adventures, and oh boy, there's a mapping game for it already, and a tracker for it, and some other materials that come for the game. Hokey smokes. Now the mapping game is for D100 Dungeon and D100 Space is generally what you're supposed to do is you roll your dice, consult the table, draw something onto your map, do some shading and coloring, and then you find out what's in there and you do extra little writing bits, this, that, and the other, and that's how you create your map. The mapping game thing is you draw cards for your rooms, and you draw cards for your items that you find, and you have tokens for gold and tokens for this, that, and the other. So you don't have to draw it. You can kind of do it as a board game on a tabletop. It's expensive if you purchase it pre-made, like $60. But you can get a print and play version of it for a whole lot cheaper. Problem with print and play, of course, is if you only have access to black and white normal paper copies, you got to cut out one side and then cut out the other one and then tape them together, because if you try to put them double-sided so you can cut them out that way, well, it's just a photocopier at a library. Who's to guarantee that they would print so I could cut them out and they come out as two-sided cards? So you got a lot of cutting out and a lot of pieces of paper and a lot of grayscale stuff, and I don't know that that would be worth it. So I'm not going to worry about any of these other mapping game type things. I'm on to the whole just draw this stuff out. And as for D100 Space, I like science fiction as a genre. I have been a fantasy, science fiction, and horror reader primarily my whole life, tending towards science fiction. I enjoy science fiction stuff, but when it comes to gaming, I tend to prefer the more excuse me, fantasy-oriented stuff. And not sure why, but there we go. So D100 space is maybe something I would look into way off into the future. I'm not really that interested in it just as itself. So, life is life. But when we come on down to the other stuff, let's see what I've got. If there's anything at all that I can talk about. Oh, yes. There is one thing about the whole D100 dungeon. I was on Facebook this morning. I had joined the D100 Facebook group, and this guy was showing off a map he had done. Now, there are 3 different methods to make up a character now if you have all the supplements for D100 dungeon. You can do the standard stuff that comes out of the book. You make up your character, you assign points, and then you pick your equipment and all that, and then you take your character through 5 training dungeon missions. And then hopefully they survive, and that gives your character experience, and that gives you a tutorial on playing the game so that when you're out of the tutorials, you don't have to worry about it. There are also 2 fast track methods where you can just roll on the table or choose, and then that's your character after X number of missions, and you don't even have to do the training dungeons. And then there's a second method that gives you slightly more variation and on characters so that they're not quite as generic when they come out through the fast tracking. But it's still fast tracked, leave the training stuff behind, get going and moving. But this one person, their dungeon was a map that they had drawn, and they were a real artist. It was well done. They had made their house rules where if they wanted to leave the dungeon, they could. Then they could sleep, heal, sell, buy, head back in. They did all 5 of their training missions in this sort of perpetual dungeon using those you can leave, you can come back house rules. The people in the group liked the house rule, and the people in the group really liked the map because hokey smokes, that map looked awesome. Thumbs up for that. There are also, for Against Darkness, there are a bunch of adventures that are also decks of cards. Because normally for Against Darkness, you roll and then you check tables and you see what's here and there. They have a deck of cards that has like 5 different sections on it. At the very top, it shows a dungeon section, so you can draw it on your map. And then there's room contents, traps, this, that, the other, and reactions at the bottom. They have everything you need. You don't need to go flipping through charts. You just draw a card and check it. There's about 5 of these adventures. They look pretty cool. I'm not really into that whole card stuff. I don't like card games and cards and stuff, but it seems interesting. So if it's something I would want to purchase, that is still far in the future. The only thing I'm really interested in purchasing are rules and rule sets to enhance existing game mechanics. Adventures, you can get those anywhere. I don't want to spend money on those. So we shall see what happens. Thumbs up on that. Now, though, I'm going to talk about, hopefully, some of my inside-outside razor's edge cryptid stuff, because I had been doing some more thinking last night when I was out on walkies, because I had mentioned there's a cryptid type, a ghost type, Melanie Cable. She sees her body die. Melanie Cable dies. James Bakir kills her and then devours her corpse afterward. He's not evil. He is a 13th type of cryptid where if you do not want to starve to death, because of a genetic defect, you can't absorb the ambient cryptid energy. You can only get that by devouring human meat. You have to devour human beings. Some cryptids only have to eat 1 or 2 human beings per year. James Bakir has it bad. He has to devour a whole human being every single week, or he will slowly and painfully starve to death. If you look at it that method, of course, it's not evil. It's just survival, and his type of cryptid naturally preys on human beings. Sure, we as victims are going to go, that's evil and awful, but it's just survival. We call parasites evil, but parasites just want to live, just like all of us. But Melanie Cable's body dies. Now, she is a ghost-type cryptid, which is just a standing wave of ripples and waves and splashes on the ambient cryptid energy matrix. We have quantum knotting in our heads, and this pattern that is formed is very intricate, very powerful, and it impacts through waving and rippling and all that, the cryptid energy around. And some people, their pattern will become self-perpetuating and self-editing, so that after the body is dead and the pattern's gone, the standing wave continues, because it has figured out how to manipulate the matrix to simulate the pattern without ever realizing that there's a pattern there. So Melanie is a standing wave on the matrix of the cryptid ambient energy. As such, she's even more lonely than most cryptids. Cryptids, of course, human beings, unless you have cryptid vision, your third eye opens and you can see the real world, you cannot see or interact with cryptids. Cryptids can see and interact with us. Ghost types, well, they don't even have a physical body. They're just a standing wave of energy. There's nothing for a cryptid or a human being to even see. How lonely would that be? Now, of course, there are those genetic variants. There are human beings with the genetic set that they can see and interact with these standing waves. They see the ghost types. Melanie Cable is lucky enough, she finds a partner. They both eventually fall in love, and that person can see and interact, not physically, but can see and interact with Melanie Cable. There are some cryptids that can interact with ghost types as well, but the amount of cryptids that can interact that way is the same as the number of human beings who can interact with cryptids. 98% of human beings are unable to even realize that there's a cryptid world out there. 98% of all cryptids and human beings cannot interact in any meaningful way with ghost type cryptids. They are lonely. But with those types that can interact with them, that's a good thing. And yeah, you're left wondering what and who you are if you worry about that sort of stuff. And it's tearing Melanie Cable apart. She doesn't know what she is. Objects can make impressions on the cryptid energy. Animals and plants, insects, rocks, everything makes an impression on the cryptid world. So they don't just walk through something empty. Houses feel like houses. Doors act like doors. They don't sink through the ground. Solid objects act like solid objects because they make an impression upon the cryptid energy. But since they can't manipulate anything, you can't open up a door. Except as a cryptid ghost type, you don't need to. As long as it's not airtight, as long as they can influence the ambient energy around them by existing, which is what we do. We manipulate our physical world. They manipulate this standing energy in minor ways. They can go through a locked door because they can influence the energy inside because it's not airtight, and then influence the energy on the other side, and the standing wave passes through all these little cracks and areas. Ghosts aren't stuck behind solid objects. If there's a way to get through it, if water can seep through cracks, so can a cryptid. Airtight, watertight, they're screwed. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab. Going to go through and thank however many people have left me comments in the past 24 hours. If I mispronounce the username, no disrespect is intended. And even though I can't American Sign Language, well, you've seen how my brain works, even just today. So we have Jesse Koskinen. Thumbs up, thank you very, very much. And I was just apologizing in the comments because I don't really know how to interact with people very well, and my comments can sometimes come off as rude and all that, and I just want to make sure that I hadn't. But I'm glad to help and answer questions about absolutely everything. So thumbs up, good to see you, my friend. Thank you. And we have Tom Valentine, who says you have an accent. And yes, I do. Everyone in the world does. Even here in the Pacific Northwest, where we're relatively accent neutral. We talk real fast. We cut off the stuff at the end of our sentences. We have an accent. It's just a different type. There is Jay, thumbs up, thank you. And hey, I added a third pumpkin. And there's Adrian, FNTES, hokey smokes. Those games are very, very brutal. And I am hoping to do something with the audiobook talking type stuff. Panthers YouTube, thumbs up. Thank you very, very much. Chris, greatly appreciated. And yep, Ghost is up and drinking. So he is still active and still with us. And he breathes better when he's not really active. But once he starts moving, hopefully he's going to continue getting better. I don't know. Ben B, greatly appreciated. Thumbs up and thank you. The_dark_artist. Thank you very, very much. And that is it. 8 people who left me comments in the past 24 hours. Thumbs up. You get me out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people, if only for a very short time, and if only in text. But thumbs up and thank you. It is appreciated. Well, hey, it's a weekend, so the only thing I'm really planning on doing is playing video games, listening to music, getting the setup done here, and recording some solo tabletop print and play, well, except for the D100 dungeon stuff, solo RPGing things, so you can see how they work and how the adventures go. So that'd be very cool. Thumbs up on that. Hopefully you can get done the things that you want to get done, and if not, hey, just relax. And of course, with diseases, injury, death, and danger out there, please just be as cautious as you can. Try not to get sick. Try not to get other people sick. Try not to get hit by a bus. They are out there, and there is one of them that has your name on it. And of course, thank you every single one of you that has watched to the end. Nobody has forced you to, so if you have, thumbs up, thank you, it is appreciated. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is a very good thing.